Level 1. Entry. You don't think of it as a system. You think it's a shortcut. You open the app, type a sentence, wait. The machine responds instantly. Clean, structured, confident. You don't question it. You copy, post, refresh. Nothing. You post again. Different topic. Same structure. Same rhythm. Same hollow clarity. You don't notice the sameness yet. You only notice the speed. That's what hooks you. Not the quality. Not the message. The speed. You begin to measure output, not meaning. 5 posts a day, then 10, then 20. You tell yourself consistency wins, but what you're really doing is flooding. At this level, you believe volume is invisible effort. You believe the system rewards activity. You are wrong, but you won't see it yet, because nothing is pushing back. No feedback, no resistance, no signal, just silence. And silence feels like neutrality, so you keep going. Level 2. Exposure. You start to notice something. Some posts perform, not yours, others. They look similar, same tone, same structure, but they move. Comments, shares, reposts. You slow down. You stop generating blindly and start observing. You notice patterns, hooks that interrupt, open loops that don't close, statements that feel unfinished but deliberate. You realize something uncomfortable. It's not about information, it's about tension. You begin to adjust. You prompt differently. Make it more engaging. Add curiosity. Hook the reader. The machine obeys, but something is off. The output becomes louder, more exaggerated, less precise. You feel it, even if you can't name it yet. This is your first contact with the boundary, where output stops working, where similarity becomes exposure. You realize the system isn't rewarding content, it's filtering it, and you are starting to look like noise. Level 3. Adaptation. You stop copying directly. That's the shift. You generate, then edit. At first, lightly. Change a word, shorten a sentence, rearrange the order. You feel a difference immediately. Not in performance, in control. You're no longer just receiving, you're shaping. You start feeding the system better inputs, more specific prompts, constraints, tone instructions. You learn that vague prompts produce generic output. Precision creates structure. Structure creates identity. You begin to recognize your own patterns, the way you phrase ideas, the way you pause, the way you end. You start building a rhythm, not entirely yours, but no longer entirely artificial. This is where most people plateau, because control requires time, and time reduces output. You post less, but you watch more, and watching changes you. You start seeing through content. You can predict the next sentence before it appears. That's when you understand. Most of it is generated. Most of it is empty, including yours. Level 4. Usefulness. You stop chasing attention. You start solving problems. Not big ones, specific ones. You pick a narrow lane, something repeatable, something measurable. You generate content that answers questions. Clear, direct, structured. You refine prompts until outputs become reliable. You stop asking the AI to be creative. You ask it to be precise. You remove fluff, cut adjectives, shorten sentences. Now your content feels different, not louder, sharper. People start saving it, not reacting, saving. That's the signal. You begin to understand value isn't visible, it's stored. You build systems, templates, frameworks, reusable structures. You're no longer producing content, you're producing outputs, predictable, scalable, functional, and the system starts recognizing you, not as noise, as utility. Level 5. Precision. You're no longer invisible. People start to expect your content, not because of who you are, because of what you provide. Consistency becomes identity. You develop a niche. You don't explore anymore. You refine. You remove unpredictability. Everything becomes structured. Hooks, body, close. Same skeleton, different skin. You start noticing something subtle. Others are copying you. Not directly, but closely enough. You recognize your patterns in their content, your phrasing, your cadence, your structure. This is your first signal of position, not followers, replication. You've become part of the template layer, and now you understand something deeper. The system isn't about originality, it's about influence over patterns. You are no longer just using the system, you are shaping it, slightly, but enough to matter. Level 6. Control. You stop thinking about content. You start thinking about behavior. What makes people stop scrolling? What makes them stay? What makes them act? You test deliberately. Change one variable at a time. Hook length, Sentence spacing, word choice. You watch metrics closely, not emotionally, mechanically. You begin to predict outcomes with accuracy. That's control. You start building systems others can follow, guides, templates, prompt packs. People use them, their results improve. They attribute it to you. You don't correct them because you understand. Influence is rarely questioned when it works. You're no longer competing, you're distributing methods, and methods scale faster than content. Now, your impact multiplies without your presence. That's when control becomes real. Level 7, authority. You stop participating, you start selecting. You choose what trends matter, what ideas deserve amplification, what formats survive. Your content doesn't follow trends, it stabilizes them. You introduce structures others adopt. You simplify complexity, then package it, then release it. And the system adjusts, slowly but noticeably. You are now a reference point, not because of your identity, because of your consistency. You're restrained. You don't post often, but when you do, it moves. People analyze your content, break it down, rebuild it. You watch quietly because you know something they don't. The system is still above you. You influence behavior, but you don't control the environment. Not yet. Level 8, system. You zoom out, far out. You stop looking at posts, you look at flows. How content enters the system, how it spreads, how it dies. You notice cycles, repetition loops. Formats rise, saturate, collapse, then reappear with minor changes. You understand the role of AI in this acceleration, not creation. The machine doesn't innovate, it amplifies patterns, and you've been feeding it patterns, which means you've been contributing to the saturation. You see the ecosystem clearly now: creators, aggregators, refiners, amplifiers. Each plays a role, each depends on the other. You identify where you sit, and more importantly, where you don't want to be. Because now you understand, the system doesn't reward intelligence, it rewards alignment. And alignment comes at a cost. Level 9, detachment. You stop identifying as a creator. That's the shift. You see content as output, not expression. You see audience as data, not people. You remove yourself from the process. Your voice becomes neutral, controlled, minimal. You can generate high-performing content on demand, but it doesn't feel like yours because it isn't. You've optimized beyond identity. You've become interchangeable with the system, efficient, accurate, detached. And now you face a question you avoided before. If the system can produce what you produce, what exactly are you? You don't answer it immediately. You observe. You reduce output. You test absence. And something interesting happens. Nothing breaks. The system continues without you, cleanly. That's when detachment becomes complete. Level 10, exit or peak. You reach the top quietly. No announcement, no milestone, just clarity. You understand everything: the mechanics, the incentives, the limitations. You can re enter anytime, rebuild influence, regain position. Because the system hasn't changed, only you have. You now see two paths: stay, continue refining, become a permanent node in the system, stable, predictable, necessary. Or leave, step outside, create without optimization, without structure, without guarantees. One path offers control, the other offers uncertainty. You hesitate, not because of fear, because of awareness. You know what it costs to stay, and you know what you lose when you leave. In the end, you don't make a dramatic decision. You adjust slowly. Post less, think more, create without prompts. At first, it feels inefficient, unstructured, but then something returns. Not performance, not reach, something quieter. Ownership. You realize something that wasn't visible before. The system was never designed to stop you, only to absorb you. And most people never notice, because absorption feels like success. You step back further, watch others enter. Level 1, same excitement, same speed, same silence. You recognize every step they will take, every mistake, every adaptation. You don't interrupt, because the system teaches better than you can. You just observe, detached, precise, and slightly unsettled, because now you understand. You didn't escape the system, you just learned how to see it. And once you see it, you can never unsee it.